you're in your bedroom for once. Taking a break? Or are you bored of your experiment? Ah, learned from me, did you? There is torture in isolation. He's very loud, isn't he? You like to hear him scream that much? Well, over the past 5 years, he's had a new body over 1,000 times. Do you start again when he's torn his vocal cords? Yes, the whimpers are nice too, aren't they? The hoarseness in the breath. You can see the fear on their face, but the noise they make doesn't quite reflect it. You've finally embraced where you belong. Well, ever since I brought you your present, you spend most of your time in his chamber. Oh, you think I'm jealous? And why do you think I'd be jealous about such a small matter? You've done well with the time you have alone. Do I look pleased? Well, I am. It normally takes souls hundreds of years to come to terms with what they need to do. There are some exceptions, yes, and some even choose to be tortured for that time. So selfless that they'd rather feel pain than inflict it on someone else. But you, my Ixus, it took you less than a century. There are pure sadists, but you're driven by something much sweeter. And it pleases me to know that fire hasn't burnt out just yet. If you need any more tools for him, just let me know and I'll make some for you. I want to be accommodating to you and to our guest. He serves his purpose here now. The irony of him betraying you in your world, only to end up here under your gaze once more. It is poetic, isn't it? But you know what intrigues me more? How someone bound for Jayamach, the hiring, had such darkness buried within them. Maybe it was that man who manifested it, or he helped it come to light. Maybe you always had it. You might have not done anything bad beforehand, but how does it feel now, when you look down at your hands and see his blood smeared over them? If it wasn't born within you, you wouldn't have such a look. Be more honest with yourself. Maybe it's some consolation to you that you were meant to be here. You had restraint. You only let one person suffer in your world, someone who deserved it. And now you get to continue that without a consequence. Bloodied hands entice me. These fingers are patient weapons now. How many times did he die in the first few days? At least 20. You couldn't stop yourself. And oh, was it a sight. You've come so far. You know, you have captured the attention of other demons. Yes, they've approached me with many an offering. Like their own contracts, souls that are bound to them in exchange for you. Even the Fochel of this sect admired the way you decorated the room. They are an overseer for a reason. They see everything. Everything. They make sure we do our jobs and keep everyone in line. And they've taken a liking to you. Like I said, you didn't belong here until you did. And now you carve with such delight. I'm not surprised they want to trade with me. Admit it. You can't lie to me. You don't even know the depth of your own darkness, do you? Your betrayer isn't an exception, is he? Haven't you thought what other screams would sound like? How they would echo in the halls? Or maybe you've wondered if someone was more resilient than him. Who could beat his records? He is your base, after all. You have no one to compare him to. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to know if he's the worst or the best? Who will surprise you? Or who might even outdo yourself? I can tell. The flame in your eyes is still there, but they've changed. You burn with a different intensity now. You've tasted it. The ability to punish. Because why else do souls come here? To suffer. And you've played a hand in it now. You weren't forced to do it either. Those first weeks were beautiful. You asked me what you wanted, and all I had to do was sit there and change the room to your desires. I think one of your better ideas was making the bricks break off one at a time and hit him. A symbolic stoning. And when he didn't guess the right wall, the bricks became a dagger. And the way you watched him, oh, it was mesmerizing. You should have seen yourself. So admit it. Confess to me what you already know. Yes. Better. The quicker you adapt, the easier it will be. And now you know a drop of what you're capable of. And you're curious to know more about it. About being a punisher. I had expected you would become one, but not this quickly. In Purgatory, you killed him with purpose. It was calculative. The difference here is that you can enact those punishments on more people that deserve them. I can allow you to see what they've done. Their actions are imprinted on the soul, and I can teach you to read them in due time. Does that sound interesting? He'll stay as your personal pet. You'll be punishing other souls like him who never made a deal. And forever, if that's what you wish. I'm excited to see what else you do. The other demons will be too, no doubt. Because you're an uncommon anomaly. If you had died before summoning me, your soul would be far from here. You wouldn't have known about us or what you can really do. You are the closest they can get to experiencing or understanding other rings. No, I'm not interested in that. Only the changing of your soul. I'm a dealer. Trade is what I think about. Punishers think about punishing, but overseers, I don't know. I've never been one, but I imagine they covet knowledge. So perhaps the fact they cannot see beyond this ring pulls them down the path of no return. They disappear, never to be seen again. I've existed for thousands of years. I started as a punisher. I stripped and cleaved and dissected. I twisted their best memories into their worst fears. And I did so until I was promoted to dealer. And ever since, I've been contributing to the ring, to the houses, to Fajadir. Because that is my responsibility. And I know my place. What happens in the other rings are of no concern to me. Oh, you'll never become a dealer. You'll never be one of us. Even if you are a punisher and rip souls apart, You're ripping your kin. I still own you. What, you want out of your confinement? Is the house not to your liking anymore? I can change it around. What do you want this time? A wooden wonder? Oh, you want to explore? Hmm. You have been good. And you took to your nature with fervor. You won't be allowed out of this place, but I'll show you something else. Follow me. We're going to the library. That's because we didn't have one before. I'm building it right now. You will find what I know. My kind remembers everything. So I'm putting all that knowledge into a place you can see for yourself. I wouldn't want to give you all of that so easily. You need to work for it. And you have an endless amount of time to do so. I can't teach you how to read me. Even I can't read other demons. There are some who can, the overseers, but it's their duty. How useful would they be if they couldn't see what we do? I'm not looking for a promotion. Being a dealer allows me to travel to your world. Overseers learn in their own way, and so do dealers. I've been everywhere, but it's different every time I visit. Your world always has something new to discover. It's knowledge that I'm allowed to seek, and it can help with future transactions. No, it's not my duty to seduce souls to Shetimach. I give humans what they want. It's their choice whether or not they take it, much like you. The souls I normally take are bound for here anyway. My involvement decides who they belong to. Either a soul to be traded or a soul to grow our plane. Yes, much like him. His screams are wonderful, aren't they? Like music for the horse. I'm gladdened by my choice to answer your call. You've made my current years entertaining. And though it's fun to pull your savagery out of a soul, it's even better when I see it bloom before my eyes. And sometimes it makes me wonder. You and us, maybe we're not so different after all. It's a stray thought. I know. Where to even begin? Thousands of years of knowledge. My existence in this one place. It extends for some time. If you view it from the top, it'll look more like home than you think. Observe. Take a walk and see. Familiar, you think? Yes. Your hometown. This is the road you lived on, isn't it? Which means this is your house. I have access to your life, remember? I can see everything as vividly as I see myself. We're connected, you and I. Let's start here. Have a look. Choose a book. The title means what it says. The inception. My first known consciousness. What it was to feel. To understand everything for the first time. I had an innate sense of what I was. what I was intended to be. And there were others just like me in that time, fashioned by Zewe. The pages are filled with all of my observations. Who I saw, what I felt. It's all there in your hand. This is your version of reading me. But you don't have the privilege of learning everything at once. You never will. Yes, those were the very first words I remember hearing. Dolsh sus dreje da kelingta. Your soul was made to serve. It is absolute, and it is true. Cevyk creates us to keep the balance and order of souls. I just know. I feel him, his energy. I am bound to him as you are bound to me. You feel me just as clearly, don't you? You can learn more about that if you wish. It's all in there. The books are more than just me. It is what I know of Cevyk, the houses, the system, the language, all of the souls I've punished, collected, traded, and donated. Everything. That got your attention, didn't it? I'll show you where the souls I've collected are. You don't have an exhibit yet. Maybe in 1,000 years. We'll see. And in that time, maybe I'll collect another. Who knows? Keep impressing me, and you won't have to worry about Vajadir. I doubt you'll be thrown in there if other demons want you. Follow. This is my museum. All the souls I've collected. I modeled it after the museum in your city, though I took some creative liberties. Your museum was too small. Do you like it? They're beautiful. Just how I remember them to be. Their faces aren't trophies. I made them a display for you. They look real, don't they? Feel them. You're not a memory for me, so you don't belong here. Ah, this soul was something. He was bound for Cevyk, but he wanted to make a deal. An eternity of servitude for one more week alive. He was terminal. Tuberculosis. He could feel his life slipping away. And you know what he did in that last week? He systematically killed all the patients in the temple. He wanted one last taste of mortality before he gave in to his own. No, he came here because that was the deal. When he was with me, he thrived, but too quickly. This was like a dream to him, inflicting pain with no consequences. It was fun breaking him, to the point where he didn't want to torture anymore. I have my ways. You can read about him. Here. You see how similar you are in ways despite having such different lives up in your world. Coming up with your own methods of torture. Having no qualms about the pain you inflict. You might not have been a serial killer like he was, but down here, that doesn't make a difference. Interesting question. I don't prefer either of you. I fondly remember all of my souls. But he was one that stood out among the rest. A blip of curiosity in a sea of monotony. Why? You want me to think of you in that way too? I wonder. Having seen you're not my first, and certainly not my most captivating, does that anger you? Make you feel something you don't like? I think you're jealous. You've suffered with pain, felt pleasure, and have suffocated through desperation of not being alone. And all the time you've been here, you've only been with me. That kind of time, your world's time, feels like an age. Naturally, you'll grow attachments in some kind of way. Emotions can be built into the form, which I have done to you. I've had souls where I stripped them of ever experiencing acceptance, and I did the opposite in another, not giving them the emotion of denying where they were. Both extremes were boring. What? You want them all gone? All of your emotions? Why? Is it out of your morals to be jealous of other damned souls? Did you ever think you'd be attached like this to me? The reason you've been denied entry into a higher ring? No, but you are. Look away as much as you want. I can see it. I've known it for a while. The way you look when I say you've done well, when I praise you, when I say you've surprised me. You dread the pain, but that makes you yearn for everything else that much more. Well, too bad. You're keeping them. Because it pleases me, that's why. And you so dearly want to please me. Lying won't get you anywhere. In another 1,000 years, when you become a memory, you want me to recall you as fondly as I do him. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Then say it to me. Tell me how you feel. It's up to you to decide whether or not I want the truth, or if I want your lie. Or if I want to see your struggle of figuring out the right answer, if there even is one. See? And how does it feel to admit jealousy for a demon? Flattery does nothing for me. You could say the most beautiful thing and I'd torture you without a second thought. But I think you've earned that. You want to learn more about the ring and me. Is this where you'll be from now? Then take your time perusing. I'm going to pay your guest a visit. I'll do what I want to him. I want to hear what kind of scream I can tear from him. No, you stay here. You have a city to read. I'll let you leave when I want. I thought you said you wanted to learn. Then learn, my Ixus. I'll see you sooner than you see me.